everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Pit Lane. Today we're going to be talking about all things Formula 1 and motorsport from the previous weekends.
Let's get into it. So the previous race was in Imola, a very, very, very nice track with a lot of tradition and a lot of unfortunate events. I don't think I need to talk about that. Well, Red Bull did have a pretty good race. I mean, Ferrari kind of gifted it to them, but yeah, I think they might have fixed their car. What do you guys think?
I think they fixed the problem and that we might get a bit more competitive racing out of these two. Maybe the pressure will get to one of them. Maybe the pressure has gotten to Charles.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see them able to fight with the Ferraris again and actually have, like, not know who was going to win kind of thing, you know, have that back again.
Well, yeah, Ferrari had a pretty bad home race, to be honest. Sainz didn't even make it past the first lap as he got spun out by Ricciardo. Poor lad. Ricciardo said, well, we're going to talk about that at some other point, but that's the second race in a row for Carlos with a DNF. He spun out and got stuck in Australia, and now he got spun out and got stuck in Imola. I see a trend here. He likes
He's not in the
I bet
I was keeping my fingers crossed for Carlos is my favorite. I was really hoping that, like, obviously the Ferrari is looking really good, so I was hoping that there'd be some wins for Carlos, but like he's just not having great luck at the minute.
No, I bet he's celebrating that there's no gravel traps at Miami.
Yeah.
So you can't get stuck in any of them.
Well, you can get stuck in the fake marina.
Oh God.
Imagine. Well, yeah, Ferrari continued to have a pretty bad weekend as there was a private tire test for Pirelli with Ferrari at Imola, and the Ferrari broke down.
So they've got the reliability issues now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we discussed that actually in the last podcast. Like, I think it was bound to happen. They were so strong that it was bound to something was going to go wrong at some point.
Yeah, both teams still don't have 100% reliability on their cars, but yeah, I think give it like one or two more races and they have it nailed. What's next? Yeah, Leclerc. Yeah, lost out on the first lap. All of the right side on the starting grid just completely missed the start basically because the track was dirty, and then he spun and threw away a good podium.
Yeah, I mean, no complaints from me because McLaren were back on the podium. But it was very gutting. Like, as soon as it happened, I was absolutely gutted for him. It was just so disappointing.
Well, the crowd...
I was just wondering what he was doing. I was wondering just what he was doing and what he thought would happen, because that curb is quite harsh, and the way he bounced over it, there was no way he was going to be able to, you know, get back around the corner again without flying into somewhere else.
Well, that's also kind of a characteristic of the Ferrari, because their setup is incredibly hard to get rid of the porpoising, which is still very noticeable on the Ferrari on the straight, but as soon as they're braking, it's basically gone. But they don't seem to care a lot. It's just that the car is really, really, really hard, and you can see it every time he hits a curb or even just drives regularly, how little give the suspension has and barely takes out any bumps.
Yeah.
And then he just crumbled and came home in P6.
I mean, at least he did pretty well to carry on and keep it up in the points, to be fair to him. So
yeah, it's a miracle that he kept
at least he got something from it. You know, it wasn't a complete fail for Ferrari.
Yeah, it's a miracle that he kept it in one piece. Well, what else do we have? Aston Martin did pretty good this weekend. They had both cars in the points. Good for Seb, good for Lancey boy.
Good for the engineers, unless they want Lawrence to be involved.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
I hope they're gonna fix their car, make it lighter. I hope the Mercedes powertrain can somehow improve. because they're still super slow and still like 10 to 15 kph slower on the straight, which is ridiculous. They're even slower than the freaking Alpine, and they're only having one engine or one car in most of the time. Well, yeah. Speaking of Alpine, poor Fernando got touched by Mick, and his car fell apart. That Alpine is delicate.
When it pulled in, when they showed it in the pits, I was actually shocked. Like I wasn't expecting that. It was like,
yeah, like Mick barely touched him. It was like Mick spun and like just scratched along the side, and his car just completely fell apart. That shows you how freaking thin these panels are to make the cars lighter, because everyone is freaking struggling with weight so much that they're all scraping off paint from their cars. Williams scraped down like half of their car.
It kind of was like dented after Mick went by, but it's as soon as Lewis went past Alonso that it actually fully destroyed itself. So it's like, how did that happen so quickly? Like, was it the force from Lewis's car hitting it? Did Lewis hit him or something?
No, it's just, I think it was the wake from Lewis' car that just took it with him.
Yeah, it was obviously damaged, and then Lewis coming past just took it off completely. Just decided to take it with it.
Yeah. Speaking of Hamilton, is he washed?
Yeah.
That's a bit controversial.
This is controversial. This is getting controversial.
I mean, he was stuck behind Gasly for 40 laps. He couldn't get past Gasly. It was painful to watch. Meanwhile, his teammate, his younger teammate who has the first year in this car, is outscoring him constantly and came home in Q4.
Now, I know people are saying, yeah, they have different setups, but Mercedes are not going to put Lewis in such a disadvantage on purpose.
Of course not.
They wouldn't do that. So it's not like it's not like they're putting the two against each other. That's not going to happen. That's not, what's happening. I just think, I don't even know. I really don't know what's going on, because if George, we've seen George and he's doing pretty well for his first year in the Mercedes. I think it's just a bit strange to see Lewis not. I don't know. The car is not working for him at all.
I mean, it is kind of a known fact that Lewis isn't the best person to do setups. I remember a lot of interviews with ex-Mercedes employees who said that basically when Rosberg was still at the team, that Rosberg made the setup and Hamilton just copied it and slightly tweaked it. Maybe they're just running out of experience, because with the old cars, the rules remained basically the same from 2017 to 2021. So you didn't have to do that much tweaking, and Rosberg was still involved in the car development before 2017, before he retired. So they kind of carried his input in the car, and the successing cars were just like, they were advancements of that car. And when they hit the ground running in Australia, they were beaten by Ferrari by quite a significant margin after Rosberg retired. And it took them like half the season to bounce back. And then when the rules didn't change at all after like 2019, they just dominated until Red Bull whacked out a wonder car last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that also comes, if Lewis is not, it's not looking like he's going to win the championship. I mean, you never know, but it's not looking like he's going to win the championship again this year.
No.
Is he going to keep on? Is he going to stay until he does, or is he going to just decide, well, it's not happening for me?
Honestly, he might pull a Tom Brady, say he's going to retire, and then come back 2 months later and be like, "Hi, I'm back again. I still want to drive."
I can see him doing that.
That sounds like something he'd do. Yeah, just getting all the attention he can get.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Toto apologised to Lewis at the end of the race, saying, "Sorry, the car is undrivable."
Well,
so is that the setup's fault, or
how does his team?
Because some people, some people are going as far as to say that they've put Lewis in a completely different car to George, and I don't see that at all, because why would they do that to Lewis when he has a chance of getting 8 world championships?
Lewis is their driver. They're not really, they're not going to do that. I really don't understand why people. I don't know. I think it's just so strange. There's no way that they do that. I'm not going to put George above Lewis ever. Well, let's not say never, but not right now. Not while they've got Lewis. Lewis is always going to be their first priority.
Yeah, of course. Until he retires, and then George is their first priority, because it's basically Hamilton in younger and better looking IMO.
Exactly. So if they were in different cars and they saw that George's was doing better, they would just swap the two around. They would
swap the cars, of course.
Yeah. Which isn't happening, so clearly it is just...
I mean, George is also used to a shit car from like the last 2 years. The Williams was the second slowest car last year and barely got points because like he was lucky and got third or second in Spa. But that was more luck than anything.
He was so used to getting the most out of a rubbish car.
Yeah, exactly.
But that could be what's happening, but it's still very strange to see.
Yeah. What else do we have? We have McLaren. McLaren did pretty good until Ricciardo messed up in the first lap. We got a surprise podium from Landa, which was pretty nice to see, even though the Tifosi didn't like it that much. They had to cut the audio from the track and play just clapping. It was hilarious.
I mean, can you blame them? Like, they're all there thinking, oh, we're going to have another Ferrari win, as we've had for the last couple of races, and this just didn't happen for them. It's just not.
No. Well, yeah, Danny, I hope he's going to bounce back. He's been struggling a bit recently again with the new car, just like last year. Come on, Danny. You're supposed, in theory, you're supposed to be Lando because you have much more experience and you drove in much faster cars already. I mean, he managed to beat Max quite sometimes in when he still was at Red Bull. Well, now, come on, Danny. It's not that difficult. This is a completely new car.
Situation. Like, it's just flip. The person who you expected, the person you expected to be doing the best in the team, is just not. It's just, it's just strange.
What else? What teams did we not cover? We had Red Bull. We had Haas.
Ocon's unsafe.
We can talk about Alpine first.
Because we're all about Ocon's unsafe release into Lewis.
Oh my god, that was like I just saw people crashing on the pit lane. It was
like that. I really don't understand. Like, it's the team's decision when to release the drivers, and yet the driver is the one with the penalty. Like, I don't understand.
That's
how it's
the way it works.
A fine penalty as opposed to like a fine. I still don't.
I mean, Ocon was quite lucky that it was only a 5-second penalty, because usually, as far as I'm concerned, a unsafe release is a drive-through penalty.
It was very close. It was very close. I was shocked.
And it would have taken out the car behind as well. So it would have been like 3 cars involved. It would have been Canada all over again.
It would have been a stressful pit lane.
Then we have Haas. Magnussen just completely driving that car into the points like 24/7. What is up with that guy?
I mean,
where did they finish? 6th?
I don't actually know where he finished.
It was sad to see him drop back from where he was. Like, he started quite high up. It would have been nice to see him stay.
Yeah.
But of course, it is hard. I don't think the Haas could compete on that level.
I think he's still driving it, to the best of that car's ability. Like, he's getting the most out of it.
Yeah. Mick definitely needs to step up his game a bit.
Yeah.
He's not doing too great.
He had that incident lap 1.
I think as well, I think another reason, obviously they've extended Carlos' contract, and people are a bit like, oh, but that should be Mick's seat. I just think Mick doesn't quite have the experience. He's not there yet to be put in the Ferrari, and so they've thought, well, we'll have Carlos. Carlos is doing well. Put him in the seat again.
Mick is also kind of a late bloomer. He was in Formula 3. He was in Formula 2. He's always coming in the latter parts of the season or like contract extensions, etc.
Yeah.
It would be pointless to get him to Ferrari now. He's just not there yet, and it will take him like at least another year at Haas.
Exactly, and I think if the Ferrari is if it continues to do as well as it's doing right now, then they're going to want a driver that can get the most out of it, which clearly isn't happening at the minute for Mick. So,
all right, Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo landed higher than their.
Where did they finish? I can't even remember.
Bottas finished 5th.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
I just completely skipped over
that. He nearly beat George. He nearly beat George. That was...
The Alfa Romeo seems to be pretty good.
I did see George Bottas and was thinking, let's not have another race like last.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Let's not do that again. But...
And funny enough, Valtteri is probably still in the faster car, or at least like race pace wise or qualifying wise.
Well, it worked out for him, moving into Alfa Romeo, really.
And Joe picked himself up after his incident in the sprint race with Pierre, and he did quite well after crashing out. So he's a rookie.
The Alfa Romeo is really good. Speaking of Alpha, we have the other Alpha team, AlphaTauri. Yuki, very good. Gasly, not making up anything basically, and blocking Hamilton for 40 odd laps. It was painful.
I mean, you did a job at that at least. That was.
Gasly was probably sitting in the car laughing his ass off because like a Mercedes can't get past him.
We also had that DRS train, which a lot of the drivers got stuck in. It was just impossible for them to get past each other.
Yeah.
It's just, it must be so frustrating for them drivers who know I can get past this guy, but they've got DRS.
Yeah.
And they can't do it around any of the other areas at Emilia's. It's not really a track where you can get past that easily unless you want to brave it.
I mean, Sebastian Vettel had an interesting say on DRS in a recent interview. He said, like, let's just try and shut the DRS off for a dry race. Just leave it off the whole race and see how the people are going to perform. If it's actually easier to overtake with the new cars, because that was the purpose of the new rules. And Ross Brawn always said that their goal is to take away DRS if they see that the cars can overtake. But if you can't test it, if you don't take away the DRS and test that out, you can't see if the cars can overtake.
Yeah. I mean, that would be quite an interesting, like, that would make more sense to just test it out.
Yeah.
As it is.
I mean,
and then
I forgot what
it does lead on. It does lead on to the question, which I know a lot of commentators and pundits were asking within the race. Why was the DRS not turned on earlier?
Yeah, it was so annoying. Oh my god. It could have tweeting like every 2 seconds, just turn on the freaking DRS. It was so annoying. The track was clearly dry. I mean, the drivers were complaining.
They were just, and nothing was going to happen unless they turned that DRS on.
Because everyone was expecting to get DRS. If they would have not turned on DRS and said like, nah, screw it, we're going to leave it up, I think it would have been pretty interesting to see what happens. But like, if they knew that DRS was going to come at some point, so they just didn't bother trying to overtake without. Who else? I think we pretty much covered all the teams. Got Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, Aston Haas.
There was also
Williams.
Charles and Checo, when they were battling before Charles's unfortunate incident, Checo trying to keep Charles behind. it was quite interesting to watch them two have a go at it.
Yeah.
Just seeing, you know, the little tricks and everything. You know, it was quite entertaining. And although it did unfortunately have Charles ending up not doing as well, it was still entertaining to watch because you did have a few of those little battles because Russell and Magnussen had some very good battles. I think George had a very nice overtake on Magnussen. So it is nice to see proper racing of cars going in front, then the other one trying to get back in front again. So it is showing a lot of development from last year's cars.
Yeah.
I just love watching Checo race. And I love seeing him on the podium.
He's
he's
very
so
good
great.
car-to-car racer. Always been.
Yeah.
The last team we need to cover or haven't talked about yet is Williams. Alex Albon almost got a point in 11th, but like that's like the worst place to be in 11th, and like Latifi doing Latifi things, I guess. He didn't crash, which is good.
Oh, he didn't crash.
Managed to keep it on track.
Yeah.
Just.
Well then let's I think I'm probably the only one who I gotta admit I just watched the highlights of the Formula E race a second ago
I got
before
a bit of it.
podcast. Well, the Porsches were unlucky. Verline's car died, and like Lotter got taken out in an unfortunate incident with Oliver Rowland. Oliver Rowland is like the Mazepin of Formula E. He's always blocking people. He always does shitty maneuvers on everyone, and Lotter was an absolutely innocent bystander in that incident. Rowland sent it down turn 1 in Monaco, lost the rear, and just tapped Lotterer in the front, and Lotterer couldn't avoid him and went straight in the wall.
This sounds like me trying to play Formula 1.
It's so annoying. Lotterer could have won the race, but like then Oliver Rowland dive bombed him, and Oliver Rowland destroyed his car himself. He went like in the barrier just in front of Lotterer. And like who did Buemi did very good. Buemi made it from managed to get to P8 from last place basically.
Yeah, and Da Costa from P10 to P5.
Yeah.
And also Cassidy from P18 to P7 because he was saving up that energy and he had so much more than everyone else on those last laps. It was just so easy for him to just get past them because they were all having to conserve energy.
Yeah.
So he could do those moves to get further up the grid, and he managed it quite easily.
Van Doren finally has a win. I don't think I can't remember him ever winning in Formula E. Did he win?
And now
before?
He's topping the championship.
I actually have no idea.
Van Doren.
Anyways, he did very good. Props to him.
That's his first win.
I wish he would have done better in Formula 1.
He's had 3 wins in Formula E. But now he's topping the championship. So
yeah,
he's got his work cut out.
Very good. What I find interesting is how good Envision is doing with Cassidy and Friends, because like it's the Audi is not they I don't think they did better last year than Audi, but like Audi isn't even in Formula E anymore, and now Envision is one of the best teams and competing for podiums, whereas Audi completely struggled with their car last year and barely got any notable results. Mahindra is kind of sucky nowadays. They also just completely plummeted after. Who drove for them? Felix Rosenqvist. After Felix Rosenqvist left, the team completely plummeted. Also, Gen 3. What's your thoughts on the new car?
I like it. And from talking to Degrassi about the car, he seems to like it. Yeah. Talk to him about more. He talked to me a lot about that. I asked all my questions were based on the car, and I was just like, tell me everything about the technology. And he just went into so much detail, and he said it is going to be so much better racing, even closer than what we have currently. And he's saying, you know, the cars are smaller, they're lighter, they go faster. It's such a development from what he first worked on with the Gen 1 cars.
Yeah.
And it's going to give opportunities perhaps for some other teams to maybe find a way to work their way up. Maybe there will be a shake-up in what's going on
That will
in
definitely
Formula
be a
E.
shake-up
Maybe
with the new teams joining, especially with the Stellantis brand, or well, Stellantis mega corporation, and Maserati joining Maserati joining Formula E. Wasn't there
You
also
said
a
that
rumor
so
that
many times then, I feel like it's not even a word anymore.
wasn't there also like a rumor that McLaren were gonna join Formula E at some point? Like, didn't they confirm something even that they are interested in joining Formula E?
Yeah, I thought they said
briefly
something
remember
about it.
something. It was a
Yeah.
while ago though.
they are getting more into electric with their Extreme
Yeah.
E team, so it would be the next step.
Yeah. Like, they've expanded a lot already, so...
They'd be the only team to be involved in, well, apart from, well, they will be involved in endurance racing starting from next season or so, when WEC switches from the GTE to GT3 cars. Then that you could race the McLaren in World Endurance Championship. They're in Formula One, they're in IndyCar, they're in Extreme E. Imagine them joining Formula E as well. They'd be like the only brand to be in all major racing series.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good for
Impressive.
them. Obviously, I mean, I feel like McLaren, they've got so many fans now. It would make sense, to be fair. It would
Yeah.
just expand.
And I mean, the electronics in the Formula E car are developed by McLaren Applied Technologies, like the battery and the electronics, controller electronics are developed by McLaren. So they
Yeah.
also have like an exclusive right to join if they wanted to.
McLaren had a good week as well in IndyCar, didn't they?
Yeah.
With the win. They're just having a good time.
Rosenquist and Pato just doing an amazing job in the Indy cars. Really good. I'm excited to see the Formula E cars race in Berlin. I hope they have the Gen 3 there to show off. They're probably not gonna drive it because I don't think the car they showed is able to drive. But I just want to see it in real life and see how big it actually is. Pretty hard to judge from the pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be videos coming, or a video coming from the Formula E experience, for sure.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
Anything else?
Miami.
Miami, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most
Yes.
expensive races ever. Great. Fake marina.
I'm very
Great.
excited, though. I am very excited. I don't
Well,
really
the
care what
track
everybody's
looks alright. I mean, it's still a parking lot, but
saying.
still
Yeah, well.
better than the original Las Vegas parking lot.
Did you see the hospitality areas? They have like a literal hospitality area in the center of the track.
Yeah.
It's like a beach hut kind of thing, and you can go swimming while watching the cars.
Yeah.
It's just like, who paid
I mean,
that
you can
much
do that
money
in
for all that?
Singapore. Like you can be on that 3-tower hotel with the huge infinity pool that goes over the edge of that one hotel. But like it's
And
pretty
you can
boring.
actually pay to watch on those fake yachts.
Yeah, that's Miami for you. I mean, the stadium, the stadium has a pool where you can watch football in the stadium, American football, the good football. And you can watch football from the pool, which is absolutely ridiculous.
It's so strange. It's just the most random thing to just add.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go swimming during a match or during a Formula One race.
I don't think that's
All the
possible.
drivers.
Huh?
I feel like that's not my idea of fun. why, you go and watch Formula 1 or racing, wherever you go to watch, and you just sat in a pool. I don't understand. It's so strange.
Yeah, it's weird getting all wet and like just staying. I mean, the race isn't. Who stays in the water for like 90 minutes consecutively and doesn't go out? It's whatever. Anything
But the
else?
driver seems to be having a good time
Yeah,
out
they
in
like it.
Miami.
I
Yeah.
wish I was living in Miami and played golf. I would have gone golfing with Lando Norris.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, Lando wants to invite me for golf, and I'm like, oh, I would love that.
I would just love Miami, to be fair.
Well, I would go. The only reason for me to go to Miami is because of the theme parks and because of one of the best roller coasters in the world. Yeah, that's a topic for another podcast. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's video of the podcast. If you did, it would be really nice if you left a like or maybe a subscription. Write your thoughts down below. What did you think of the last race? Are you excited for Miami? I think most of us are excited for Miami. If you want to watch another video, you can click here to watch the latest episode of our podcast, or click the video above if you want to know more about suspension technology in Formula 1. It's a really interesting video. I put in a lot of effort into that one. Other than that, you can click over here to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video. Bye.